The family feud goes on.
Are you okay?
Guys, is that
okay?
What happened there at the face-off?
I'm not too sure, but that's the only shot he's getting off me, silly brick.
Are you
Free promoter.
I think so.
Ben, do you think there'll be any repercussions? People are talking about a hefty fine from the board and also a hefty fine potentially from the promoter for not having a better handle on the situation. Just saying.
Boxing professionals have now reacted to the bizarre slap on Conor Benn's face by Chris Eubank Jr. as the pair have kicked off one of the most intense build-ups in recent boxing history. Despite his attempts to wax lyrical through Manchester's press conference on Tuesday evening, it is what came at its end that people will remember Chris Eubank Jr. for. After several lengthy monologues, having repeatedly told the promoter Eddie Hearn to be quiet, and having spoken over Conor Benn's occasional offerings, when Eubank Jr. and Benn finally went head-to-head, Eubank Jr. slapped Benn with his left hand and the egg he held within his grasp cracked across Benn's face. The egg was used as a symbol, given Benn failed 2 PEDs tests and tested positive for the banned substance clomiphene ahead of their first scheduled encounter in 2022.
Conor, I've been meaning to ask you for a long time, it's interested me. How many eggs did you have to eat to fail those 2 drugs tests? You dirty lump.
The reality is.
Please tell me.
The reality is.
It's been racking my brains for a long time.
The World Boxing Council later, upon clearing Benn themselves, claimed that those results could have occurred because of the number of eggs Benn consumed. Benn has maintained his innocence throughout. Until that flashpoint, Eubank Jr. had been outspoken but measured. When Hearn initially started talking, Eubank Jr. said, "This is Eubank versus Benn, so you can either sabotage the event or you can be quiet and we can move ahead with the press conference. I don't want to hear what you have to say."
Everyone wants to know.
The reality is, I've been cleared 3 times by the NADP, by the WBC, by UCAD, by the way, which people are a lot smarter than you. Number 1, I've been cleared.
"I'm more popular than you," countered Hearn, who then turned to Benn, 28, and said, "How are you feeling about smashing this geezer to pieces? Because I can't wait." Eubank Jr. then offered his take on the boxers and where they stand in terms of their popularity in the UK, where their fight will do brisk business and will likely sell out the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium when they meet on April 26th.
On site next time, of course it is.
What's going to happen Thursday? What's going to happen Thursday?
He's going to get chinned. Do you think Ben Shalom knew about it, Conor? It's a little slag. Thank you.
The bad guy is back again. Eubank Jr., 35, smirked. Still never cheats, still never lies, still never cuts any corners, yet he is still the bad guy. Isn't it incredible? First time in boxing history, there are 2 bad guys. I've been booed into every British fight I've had since 2014. Just let that sink in for a second. That's 11 years of being the bad guy. I'm a veteran at this stage, a super villain, if you will. I remember the first time I got booed into an arena. It was against a fighter called Billy Joe Saunders, another scumbag in the boxing industry. And it's a cold, dark moment in your life when you realize you're in an environment when thousands of people want to see you get hurt and lose.
Dude, you will never be cleared of being a wanker. Period. That's it.
So, when you say you've been cleared, what does that mean?
Even recently, walking into Wembley Stadium, AJ Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois, I walk in, the cameras are on me, my face goes up on the screen, 80,000 booed me, and that is after a career-best performance against Liam Smith when I beat him in a rematch. On April 26th, I'm probably going to be walking into the same environment, but it's okay because I'm not going to be alone. There's 2 bad guys in this fight, and there's one in me who has accepted his fate. I gave up on my dreams of being the hero a long time ago. The other still wants and believes in dreams of being the good guy, of being a golden boy. That's what I believe. You had it. You had the whole public behind you. Everyone wanted you to win and to be the next big thing in boxing. I never had that. You know what I would have given to be in that situation you were in? You had it. You literally pissed it all away.
The people by lot.
What does it mean?
You have the IQ of a 5-year-old child.
Does that mean that the drugs went in your system?
I've been cleared. Done.
There you go.
That's it. No, you keep going on, but I've been cleared.
The entire public wants to know.
Eubank Jr. claimed that Ben would try to use beating him to get back into the good graces of the British public, but said, "It's not gonna happen, kid. Sorry to break it to you." When Ben started to hit back with fighting talk, Eubank Jr. grinned. "Shivers. I love that." But Eubank Jr. was not done. "You go online and I see that there is a split," he went on. "I either see people say Conor Benn is going to knock Eubank early because he's too young, too strong, too ferocious, too hungry, too angry, or Eubank wins on points because he's too big. I've had 34 fights, 25 KOs, and I can only beat this guy because I'm bigger than him. No, I'm going to beat him because I'm a better fighter in every single department. He cannot beat me."
Why
That's the truth.
there were
You're an idiot.
performance-enhancing drugs in your system, and all you and Eddie can come up with
Do your
after
research.
2.5
Do
years
your
is
research. Do your
he's
research.
been cleared. We can't say how or why or
Do your research,
but he's
Chris.
been cleared. It's okay.
Well, I would like to say
Eubank Jr. was still not done. The British rivals, who will fight at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on the 26th of April, at times acted like petulant children and hurled foul-mouthed insults at each other throughout the event. Ben has always denied intentionally doping, and both fighters are being tested by the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association for the contest. An independent report by the WBC in February 2023 said his failed drugs test was not intentional and could have been caused by a highly elevated consumption of eggs. Apparently, egg contamination was the reason for his 2 failed drugs tests, so I contaminated him with an egg. Eubank posted on social media with a clip of the incident.
you don't spend nearly £1 million to fight the case if you're a drugs cheat.
Yes,
And
you
that-
do.
Eubank made a slow entrance and demanded Ben be seated closer to him. "I don't know who you think you're talking to," responded a twitchy Ben, dressed in a black silk pajama-like outfit. The fighters belittled each other's records. Eubank spoke about the injustice of a rehydration clause, which means he cannot weigh more than 10 pounds more than the middleweight limit on fight night. And Ben said he would render Eubank unconscious. "I'm excited to end this man's career," said 28-year-old Ben, who has won all 23 of his fights, with 14 stoppages.
That's exactly what.
Oh, money, no.
No. He's an idiot.
care how
The
much-
CEO's name on £4 million. That's why he's taking this fight. Don't talk shit.
With 34 wins in a career spanning more than 13 years, Eubank, 35, has fought at a significantly higher level. His losses have come against former world champions Billy Joe Saunders, George Groves, and Liam Smith. "I'm going to beat him because I'm a better fighter in every department," he said. Eubank and Ben have reignited a family rivalry after their Hall of Fame fathers fought for a second time almost 32 years ago. Eubank Sr. was not in attendance, however, and appears reluctant to be involved in the promotion of the fight. "The bottom line is that his dad does not even like him," said Ben. As the war of words continued, Nigel Benn and Eubank's team, including promoter Ben Shalom, remained quiet. But Eubank took particular aim at Ben's promoter, Eddie Hearn, who refused to back down. "This is not the Eddie Hearn show," he said, talking over Hearn every time the Matchroom chairman spoke as a standoff ensued. It is unlikely the Manchester Central Auditorium, which usually caters for corporate events, has seen such histrionics. Ben versus Eubank is a bloodline rivalry which has transitioned into bona fide hatred. Put these two volatile Englishmen together in any room and the chances of it kicking off are extremely high. Asked by BBC Sport before the media conference what he thought of his opponent, Ben, without hesitation, replied, "Idiot."
It was agreed in the contract.
What was agreed was that the fight would happen and that Conor Benn could beat Chris Eubank Jr. at any weight. That was what was agreed.
No,
And all of a sudden,
When DAZN's Aid Oladipo introduced Eubank Jr.'s trainer, Ronnie Davies, who worked with Eubank's father, Chris Sednier, throughout his championship career, as Ronnie Shields, Eubank corrected him. "Let's put some respect on his name," he snapped. "He's done too much in the game to fuck up his name." But Davies was unfazed. "I think it's great," the veteran Brighton-based coach said, of the sons of the great British rivals being set to finally fight. "I've got the greatest respect for Nigel and his son. I'm old school. I don't slag fighters off or their trainers. How can I not have a great respect for Nigel Benn when I was in the opposite corner of him for 2 major wars?"
Eddie.
Your man said when the contract.
Stop interrupting me, Eddie. Let me cook.
No,
Let me cook.
Friday plum. And you signed the contract. I did sign the
And I think you're going to see another major fight. Conor, Chris is too big for you, mate. And you haven't boxed enough. And you haven't fought at his level. He's too big, and he is good. People don't realize how good he is. May the best man win, which will be Eubank. A lot of people don't know what he is. I do. Showing mutual respect, Nigel Benn and Davies shared an embrace moments before tempers flared. While Davies has historically had input into Eubank Jr.'s career, it is likely that Eubank's trainer Jonathan Banks will be the chief voice in his corner. He had the least to say out of everyone on stage, simply adding, "I think it will be a good fight." The Tottenham fight card is the first to be staged by The Ring, the boxing news outlet owned by the Saudi Arabian boxing power broker Turki Al-Sheikh.
Show me the money. That's what I said.
You know why?
If you're gonna have that advantage over me,
poker, that's why you need the money.
if you're gonna have that advantage over me,
You're shit poker, that's why
then
you
you've
need.
got to have. Then you've got
That's
to
why
pay
you
top
pay
dollar.
this fight.
You've got to.
The noise, the way it shattered, was like glass, Eddie Hearn told DAZN. Having been on stage when Chris Eubank Jr. used his left hand to push an egg into the face of his rival Conor Benn at the press conference to announce their fight. Hearn, who promotes Benn, was targeted by Eubank Jr. at the press conference. The promoter was continuously told to be quiet by the opposing fighter, but it was at the end when Eubank Jr. made his move on his opponent. "The presser Eubank is quite amusing," Hearn said. "At the end, crazy move. You've come on the stage with an egg. I thought it was a glass. The noise and the way it shattered was like glass."
As much as Eddie doesn't want to admit that for public knowledge, that's what's happening.
What's public knowledge?
I'm being paid to restrict my weight.
No, you're on a weight pay.
Not being funny. Listen, all I'm saying now, all bets are off. If you bump into Nigel Benn in the next 10 minutes, watch yourself. Nigel Benn had been on stage with his son, while Eubank was flanked by Jonathan Banks and Ronnie Davies. "The thing is with Eubank, everything is premeditated," added Hearn. "The game's the game, the fight's the fight. What I'm saying now is all bets are off. Anything goes. You've gone to that level. It's on site. In the world we live in today, it's gonna go viral. People are going to find it hilarious. Yeah, I get it. All I'm saying is that 5 minutes ago, everything changed."
Good job. He got you a good deal. But he knows what he signed. You know what you signed.
Chris was paid to do this.
I don't care what
Chris was paid to do
Absolutely.
this.
Good.
And
Good.
Bottom line.
paid to Chris.
Listen, we were over the moon. We got 60-40 split in our favour. Next
Oh,
question.
BA.
Now, just a little bit more. Just a little bit more.
And also, one thing I want to say.
This fight was massive. This has gone to another level. This fight is going to sell out quicker than you ever imagined. Hearn said that the fight would now likely become a Nigel Benn-Iran Barkley type shootout, which the Roughhouse Ben famously won in a wild single round. Forget a game plan, forget a strategy. He's coming in with speed and ferocity to iron out Eubank in 3 rounds, said Hearn. The egg was symbolic. As Eubank Jr. mentioned throughout the press conference, Ben had previously failed drugs tests before their first scheduled date in 2022 for the banned substance clomiphene, and the World Boxing Council said that an increased consumption of eggs could have been to blame. Ben has consistently maintained his innocence.
Now, this rehydration situation, I've never done it before. Usually, I put on around.
Ben and Eubank are due to go head-to-head in the London leg of their press tour on Thursday. Tuesday was in Manchester, England. They fight at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in the capital on April 26th. Conor Benn has claimed Chris Eubank Jr. owes Neymar £4 million during an explosive press conference in Manchester. Eubank Jr. and Benn, the sons of historic rivals Chris Eubank and Nigel Benn, kicked off their press tour in heated fashion on Tuesday after striking an agreement to settle their long-running feud in the ring on April 26th. The pair had originally been due to face off in October 2022. Before that fight was cancelled when Benn failed 2 drug tests. The scandal was dragged up once again by Eubank in a conference dominated by Eddie Hearn, firing barbs at Eubank and Ben Shalom over their allegedly strict contract conditions. Eubank Jr. said, "Conor, I have been meaning to ask you for a long time. How many eggs did you have to eat to fail those 2 PEDs tests?"
I'd have fought you tonight. Okay, let's get it done. Cool, let's get it done. Let's get it done.
All right, well, congratulations, Conor. We'll set you guys face up.
Ben, who had his suspension lifted, insisted that he was cleared by all the drug screening authorities before adding, "He is an idiot. He owes Neymar 4 million quid. That's why he's taken this fight, so don't talk nonsense. I said he owes Neymar 4 million quid. Have you not heard? So don't come talk to me about bollocks. This is why you have taken this fight, and you are about to get rendered unconscious for it. You're money hungry, that's the only reason." Eubank quipped in return, "I guess you guys don't have an explanation, but you're cleared, I guess." Brazilian ace Neymar is a pal of Eubank Jr. and entered the ring in October after Eubank Jr. triumphed over Camille Zarameta in Riyadh in October. The former Barcelona star's presence added to a dramatic scene where Benn charged into the ring to square off with his great rival moments after the bout ended. Time will tell if the fight in spring will prove just as dramatic. Chris Eubank Jr.'s highly anticipated grudge match with Conor Benn is now set for April. Saudi boxing power broker Turki Al-Sheikh confirmed.
Hopefully, we get that fight next. Well, the pair...
Al-Sheikh made the announcement following a dramatic evening in Saudi Arabia, where Eubank Jr. secured a dominant victory over Camille Zarameta. The scenes afterwards stole the headlines as Benn stormed the ring, setting the stage for an explosive face-off between the two rivals. The event took place at the Kingdom Arena in Saudi Arabia, where Eubank Jr. delivered a powerful performance against Zarameta, stopping his opponent in the 7th round. Eubank was in control from the opening bell, using his superior speed and precision to outclass Zarameta, eventually overwhelming him with a barrage of punches that forced the referee to call a halt to the contest. The win extended Eubank's momentum following his recent victory over Liam Smith and reinforced his position as one of the most highly sought-after middleweights. However, it was the post-fight chaos that stole the headlines. Moments after the referee waved off the bout, Benn, who had been ringside, jumped into the ring and confronted Eubank Jr., igniting a face-off between the two fighters. The crowd erupted as Benn and Eubank Jr. exchanged heated words, with both men clearly eager to settle their long-standing feud.
From the game goes forehead to forehead, and we have a very entertaining spectacle there of, for some reason, Neymar being called in as a kind of mob.
Security quickly intervened to separate the two, but the tension was palpable, and the confrontation further fueled excitement for their potential showdown. Al-Sheikh, who has played a significant role in bringing major boxing events to Saudi Arabia, confirmed to the Stomping Ground that the first half of 2025 is the targeted period for the much-anticipated Eubank Jr. versus Benn clash. Eubank Jr. previously told Mailsport that he was targeting a bout with Benn in that month before taking on Canelo later in the year. The rivalry between Eubank Jr. and Benn dates back to their famous fathers, Chris Eubank Sr. and Nigel Benn, who fought in 2 epic bouts during the 1990s. Since then, the animosity has only grown, with both fighters eager to settle the score in the ring. The winner of the highly touted April clash between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. could face Canelo Alvarez. Turki Al-Sheikh confirmed.
Yeah, I feel like saying to Neymar, I tell you one-on-one, football. I'm just messing. He's such a great man. It was a pleasure having him there. I know he's Eubank's boy. I had to apologise to him for the beating I'm about to give his boy, but apart from that, it's all good.
A great moment, which will probably go viral. You're talking in Spanish, not for the...
Benn and Eubank Jr. are set to face off on April 26th at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium to settle their long-standing feud. The fight will be contested at the middleweight limit of 160 pounds. The two were originally supposed to face off in October 2022, but Benn's failed drugs test saw the fight pushed back. Benn had tested positive for the fertility drug clomiphene, which is banned inside and outside competition by the World Anti-Doping Agency. His suspension was eventually lifted in November last year by the UK National Anti-Doping Panel before the fight was confirmed a couple of months later. The fathers of the two British boxers had 2 classic bouts in the 1990s, and Al-Sheikh's announcement will raise the stakes of the fight even further. Whoever is the winner, we are working in the future to have him fight against Canelo. Al-Sheikh, chairman of Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority, told Sky Sports.
The first time, what did you say at that moment, as we don't speak Spanish, didn't understand?
Well, Chris started speaking in Spanish to Neymar, so I was like, all right, cool. I say what I got to say, and I just said, listen, I'm ready now, you can have it now if you want. Obviously, Eubank don't understand what I'm saying, so I said, Neymar, can you translate, please? And then he translated it.
Yeah.
If Eubank wins, he will have the chance to do Canelo at the beginning of 2026. We have 2 big conferences, one in Manchester on Tuesday and one in London on Thursday. It will be huge, and I think it will be a great fight. And also, the undercard is strong. The result of this fight and the undercard will impact the future of our cards. Mexico's Alvarez, 34, holds the World Boxing Council, World Boxing Association, and World Boxing Organization titles at 168 pounds, and he's set to face Terence Crawford next, and that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality contents like this. Until next time, peace out.